Did you hear that? Private Keegan froze, eyes wide in the suffocating jungle mist. Movement. 2 o'clock. No, 3. Elias raised his fist, signaling silence. Nothing but the hum of alien insects and the faint crackle of static in his comms. Then came the scream, short, wet, final. Keegan's gone, a blur of motion. Shadows danced between the trees, too fast, too precise. Elias's blood ran cold. "This isn't wildlife," he growled, switching off his safety. "We're being hunted." "Did you hear that?" Private Keegan's voice cut through the jungle haze, tight with fear. Elias Rourke didn't answer. He had heard it too, barely but enough. A faint rustle, deliberate, not the random brush of wind or animal. His fist went up. The squad froze. Breath held. The jungle loomed around them, thick with green shadows and humid rot. Every step on Varnox 7 felt like trespassing. Even the ground seemed reluctant to bear their weight, as if rejecting human presence. Movement. 2 o'clock. No. 3. Keegan's whisper cracked. Rourke's eyes scanned the dense canopy. The faint shimmer of his visor's thermal overlay revealing nothing but the heat of the jungle itself. Varnox 7 was a hellhole. Moisture, heat, and a constant buzz of alien life. But this wasn't just the planet. Something else stalked them now. The static in his earpiece flared. "Keegan, hold position," he ordered, voice low but sharp. The squad had landed 6 hours ago, tasked with recon for a potential colony site. Standard sweep, scan the terrain, catalog resources, check for threats, get out. It should have been routine. But routine didn't exist out here. They had picked up strange patterns earlier, deep gashes in tree bark, signs of ritualistic markings, and the remains of something wrong. Not animals, not machines. Something between. Elias. Sergeant Danner stepped beside him, face pale under his helmet. "This doesn't feel like wildlife." "I know." Elias's hand gripped his rifle tighter. "Form up! Eyes wide!" But before anyone moved, a sound tore through the jungle. A scream, brief, gurgled, then silence. Keegan was gone. The squad broke formation, weapons up, adrenaline surging. "Keegan!" Corporal Mills shouted, stepping forward. Elias yanked him back. "Stay in line! They're baiting us!" The jungle was silent again. Not dead, just waiting. Elias switched frequencies, hailing Keegan's beacon. No signal. Jammed? No. Too precise. Targeted. "This isn't random," he muttered. "We're not dealing with predators. We're dealing with hunters." The day had started normally enough for Varnox 7. They had deployed from orbit at dawn, their dropship kicking up sheets of steaming mud as they touched down near the LZ. Elias had done dozens of these ops. Always some new planet, some new challenge. But this place? It had an air of finality. The jungle was a wall of green. Impossibly tall trees, vines like cables, insects the size of fists. Their scanners struggled, glitching from the ion-rich atmosphere, and comms were patchy, at best. As they moved deeper, the team had joked about hazard pay, about cold beer back home. Typical chatter, masking unease. Elias had let it go. Let them laugh. Let them feel human. They found the first body 2 hours in. At first, they thought it was animal remains, but no, it was a colonist, or what was left of one. Limbs torn, torso opened with surgical precision. Symbols burned into the skin. A message, but not one they understood. Danner had knelt beside the corpse, voice flat. "This isn't wildlife. This was done with purpose." Elias had agreed. "Mark it. We move." But they hadn't moved fast enough. Now, with Keegan gone, Elias felt the jungle close in like a noose. He led them to higher ground, moving fast but controlled. "We hold at the ridge," he ordered. "Thermal scans, full perimeter, no one dies alone. They reached a rocky outcrop overlooking the valley. The jungle stretched endless beneath them, a green sea. The sun was setting, casting long shadows. Mills adjusted his visor. No movement. Nothing on scans. Danner shook his head. That's worse. Elias crouched, pulling out a small drone. He launched it, the screen on his wrist flickering as it rose above the trees. Static, distortion, then movement. Blurred shapes, just at the edge of the feed. Rewind, he commanded. The drone replayed the footage. Shapes, humanoid, tall, cloaked, watching. They've been tracking us since we landed, he realized. Danner's face hardened. So what now? We dig in? Elias looked back at the jungle, then at the faces of the men still with him. Tired, angry, scared. He couldn't lose more. No. He stood. We don't wait for them. We make them bleed first. As night fell, the jungle seemed to pulse. Every noise felt sharper, closer. The squad set traps, tripwires, EMP mines, anything they had. Elias didn't sleep. He watched. He waited. Then, just past midnight, something triggered a mine. The explosion lit up. The trees, screams, not human, followed. Elias smiled grimly. You wanted a hunt, he whispered. Now you've got one. The explosion echoed through the jungle, lighting up the dense canopy with brief, fiery clarity. Elias didn't flinch. His eyes remained locked on the shadows beyond their perimeter. His fingers tightened around the rifle's grip as he scanned for movement. Hit confirmed, Mills muttered, crouched beside the scorched remains of their trap. But no bodies. They're testing us, Elias replied, pushing at the edges, seeing how we react. Like we're the animals. Elias didn't answer. He didn't need to. Far above, from a concealed vantage point in the jungle's tallest tower trees, High Warden Creelthar watched the scene unfold through the eyes of his hunting drone. His mandibles clicked softly in amusement, the low hum of Dravanti tech pulsing around him. Primitive, he murmured, his voice like gravel grinding steel. They wound one and think it a victory. The other hunters in his elite circle stood silent, respectful. Creelthar had led countless hunts across the stars. Predators, warriors, beasts bred for combat. None had matched his skill. These humans were no different, so he believed. He gestured to the holographic map before him, showing the humans' movements in glowing red. Let them prepare. Let them hope. Fear ripens the prey. Back on the ground, the squad moved quickly. Elias ordered a shift. No more staying in one place. They couldn't outgun what they didn't understand, but they could outthink them. We move east, he said. High Ridge gives us better ground, tighter lanes. We control the approach. Danner nodded. You think they'll follow? They're not here to scare us off. Elias looked down at the pieces left from the trap. No blood, just armor plating, light and flexible, too advanced for anything native. They're here for us. Mills swore under his breath. Great. Just great. They moved fast, silent. The jungle seemed to lean in, branches brushing too close, leaves shifting in unseen winds. Every sound was a potential threat. Every silence worse. Creelthar's command came swiftly. Drive them to the cliffs. Break their line. No weapons. Claws only. The hunters obeyed without question. To kill with tech was necessary. To kill with hands was honor. Hours passed. The ridge loomed ahead, jagged rocks piercing through the green. Elias motioned for the squad to hold. Danner, check our 6. Danner nodded, slipping back into the brush. Mills approached. We can't keep running. Keegan's dead. Lopez is bleeding out, and I'm done playing hide-and-seek. Elias turned to him, eyes hard. You think I'm not pissed? You think I don't want to light this whole place up? But if we don't keep moving, none of us make it out. Maybe we don't anyway. Then we take some of them with us. Danner's voice cracked through the comm. Contact. Rear. Flank! Elias spun. Mills, cover him! Go! They ran. The forest exploded into chaos. Figures emerged from the trees. Tall, armored, monstrous. No weapons, just claws and brute force. Mills fired, rounds tearing through the brush. One of the attackers dropped, but two more surged forward. Danner was dragged down, his scream choked as blood sprayed. Elias charged, knife drawn, slamming, into the nearest one. The blade slid between the plates at the creature's neck, hot blood spraying his face. It stumbled, gurgling, and fell. Mills yanked Danner back, but the sergeant was already gone. His body crumpled, lifeless. Elias didn't. Hesitate. Fall back! Now! They reached the ridge, gasping. Only Elias and Mills remained, their uniforms torn, bloodied, eyes wild. Elias dropped beside a boulder, pulling out a signal jammer and adjusting the frequency. They're forcing us in, hurting us. Mills collapsed beside him. What the hell are they? Why aren't they using guns? Elias stared at the blood on his hands, not his own. Because they don't need to. High above, Creelthar watched the exchange. The drone's feed flickered with static, distorted by the human's devices. Clever. He respected that. Now they know, he said. Now they understand fear. One of his hunters approached, head bowed. You will take them yourself? Creelthar's eyes narrowed. Not yet. Let them bleed more. Night crept in, thick and heavy. Elias set up a defensive ring, using what gear they had left. Mines, trip lasers, motion sensors. Mills sat nearby, cradling his rifle. What's the plan? Elias didn't look up. We stop reacting. We set the field. You think they'll come again? Elias finally met his eyes. They never left. Somewhere in the dark, the jungle watched. The hunters waited. And Elias, for the first time, didn't just want to survive. He wanted to win. The night was restless. The jungle didn't sleep, and neither did Elias. He crouched beside Mills, scanning the tree line, senses sharp. Sweat clung to his skin, mixing with the grime of blood and dirt. His mind wasn't just on survival now. It was on making them bleed, Mills whispered, voice ragged. They're out there, watching. Let them. Elias adjusted the motion sensors, careful to leave no gap. We'll give them something to see. Creelthar stood on a branch high above, eyes glowing faintly in the dark. The humans had surprised him, resourceful, determined, but still prey. He admired their resistance. He also meant to crush it. He turned to his remaining hunters. We finish this tonight. Elias studied the map on his wrist, terrain etched in flickering light. The ridge behind them was narrow, a dead end if things went wrong. But it gave him something better. Control. He set a series of traps, silent, lethal. No fireworks, just clean death. He used scraps from the Dravanti gear, thin wire, pressure charges, even bits of their armor repurposed as makeshift shrapnel. Mills limped back, dragging a shattered drone. Found this near Danner's body. It's theirs. Elias grabbed it, turning it over. The drone's design was sleek, far beyond Earth tech. He pried open its control panel. Can you use it? Mills asked. Elias didn't answer. He was already inside the wiring. Creelthar moved in silence, signaling his hunters. Forward. They crept, cloaked by tech and shadow, sensing the humans close. The first trap triggered. A Dravanti hunter fell, neck severed by wire, body slamming into the dirt with a heavy thud. Elias waited, counting. 1. Another stepped forward, triggering. A charge that drove metal shards through its chest. 2. Mills exhaled sharply. They're hitting hard. Elias nodded. Hard enough. The remaining Dravanti broke from stealth, storming the human's position. Roars echoed, primal and furious. Elias fired, aiming low, not to kill but to slow. A bolt struck one in the knee, sending it crashing into a mine. 3. Mills dropped another with precise shots, but a fourth reached him, claws slashing. Mills screamed, blood pouring as he staggered. Elias moved fast, tackling the creature, blade drawn. They wrestled, teeth bared, breath ragged. Elias plunged the knife deep into its side, twisting hard. The creature gasped, gurgled, and fell. 4. Silence. Mills lay against the rock, clutching his side, breathing shallow. "I'm good," he lied. Elias crouched beside him. "You're not, but we don't have time." Above them, Creelthar watched. Rage boiling. His hunters, elite, proven, slain by vermin. He wouldn't wait anymore. Elias turned the drone over, finally bypassing its controls. The screen flickered, showing lines of alien code. He didn't need to read it. He opened a channel. "This is Captain Elias Rourke," he said, voice steady. "To the coward watching me, you think this is a game? You think we're animals?" "No." Reply. "Just static." "Come and find out." Creelthar's eyes narrowed. He activated his own comm. "I hear you, human. Soon you'll hear nothing but your own death." Elias smiled coldly. "We'll see." He cut the link, stood, and looked at Mills. "I'm ending this." "How?" Elias pointed at the drone. "I'm bringing him to us." He rigged the drone with a signal booster, creating a false beacon, a lure. Then he dragged the bodies of the fallen Dravanti into view, leaving them as a message. The jungle didn't move. Not yet. Minutes passed, heavy and slow. Then came the sound. Footsteps, deliberate. Creelthar emerged, tall and fearsome, blood-streaked armor glowing faintly in the dark. "You wanted me, human. Now face me." Elias stepped forward, rifle lowered. "You've lost," Creelthar growled. "I have not begun." He charged, fast and brutal. Elias sidestepped, pulling the detonator. The ground erupted, not in fire, but in force. A shockwave from the modified drone, blasting Creelthar off his feet. Elias advanced, rifle raised. Creelthar stood, shaken but alive. They stared, two predators, neither willing to fall. Elias didn't hesitate. The moment Creelthar rose, he opened fire, each round aimed not to kill, but to slow, to wound, to wear down. The Dravanti leader absorbed the shots, armor cracking but holding. His growl deepened, more animal than alien. Creelthar lunged, closing the distance faster than expected. Elias sidestepped again, just enough, letting the hunter crash into the rock wall behind him. Dust exploded from the impact. Mills, still conscious, called out weakly, "Finish him!" Elias didn't answer. He knew better than to rush. Creelthar wasn't just muscle. He was trained, precise. This wasn't a brawl. It was a test. Creelthar turned, slower now, blood oozing from the cracks in his armor. "You've killed my hunters. You've scarred my name." His voice was calm, almost respectful, but under it was rage, barely held. "You started this," Elias replied, circling. "I'm just making sure you don't finish it." Creelthar removed his helmet, tossing it aside. His face was marked by years of battle, deep lines, old wounds, and eyes that glowed with a cold, ancient fury. "Face me properly, human, or die running." Elias dropped his rifle, pulled his knife, and nodded. "Let's end it." The fight was brutal, fast. Creelthar swung, claws slicing air as Elias ducked, striking low, his blade cutting into exposed flesh. Creelthar grunted, but countered, a heavy fist catching Elias's side, sending him sprawling. Pain flared, ribs, screaming. But Elias pushed up, spitting blood. Not done. Creelthar charged again, slower now, injured but relentless. Elias dodged, dragging him toward the trap, the final one. Mills, watching, understood. "Elias! The ridge!" Elias fainted, Left, then pivoted right, slashing Creelthar's leg. The Dravanti stumbled, and Elias grabbed his shoulder, using the momentum to drive them both toward the edge. They crashed, rolling, dirt and stone giving way beneath them. Creelthar roared, grabbing Elias's throat, lifting him. "You are strong, but not strong enough." Elias choked, eyes narrowing. His hand reached down, finding the beacon clipped to his belt. Maybe not, but smart enough. He activated it. The ground beneath them shuddered, a low hum rising. Creelthar threw him down, stepping back. "What have you done?" Elias gasped for breath, holding the beacon high. "Called in insurance." The sky above cracked, a streak of light descending. The signal had triggered an orbital strike countdown. Not yet firing, but enough to force a choice. Creelthar's eyes widened. "You would destroy this world?" Elias stood, bloodied but firm. "No, just you." Creelthar hesitated. For the first time. The hunter saw something he hadn't before. Not prey, not challenge, but equality. The human wasn't bluffing. Elias advanced, slowly. "You think strength is dominance. You think fear wins. But you lost the moment you thought we'd break." Creelthar bared his teeth. "I lose nothing!" He lunged, but Elias was ready. He stepped aside, driving his knife into the Dravanti's side, twisting hard. Creelthar stumbled, collapsing. Mills, from his spot, raised a hand. "It's over?" Elias nodded, breathing hard. For him, he deactivated the beacon, the hum fading. Elias stood over Creelthar, who lay coughing, blood pooling. "You'll live," Elias said, "but they'll know." Creelthar looked up, hate and respect mingling in his gaze. "You are not prey." Elias turned, walking back to Mills. "No, we never were." Dawn broke slowly over Varnock 7, pale light filtering through the dense canopy, casting long shadows across the blood-stained ground. The jungle, for the first time, seemed quiet. Not the silence of death, but something deeper. A silence of respect. Elias, crouched beside Mills, wrapping a field dressing around his torn side. The man's face was pale, lips cracked, but his eyes stayed sharp. "We made it," Mills whispered, voice thin. Elias nodded. For now. Above them, the ridge bore scars. Of the battle. Broken stone, shattered traps, the remains of Creelthar's fallen hunters. The Dravanti leader, still alive, lay motionless nearby, breathing slow, shallow. His wounds were deep, but not fatal. Elias had made sure of that. Mills followed Elias's gaze. "You should have finished him." "I did." Hours later, the static of the comms finally broke. A voice came through, clear and sharp. "Recon Team Alpha, respond. This is Patrol Group Delta 3. We've picked up your beacon." Elias grabbed the mic. "Delta 3, this is Captain Rourke. We need extraction. Coordinates uploaded. 2 survivors." A pause. "Copy that, Captain. En route. ETA 12 minutes. As the minutes dragged, Elias paced, checking the perimeter one last time. He stood over Creelthar, watching the rise and fall of his chest. The Dravanti's eyes opened slowly, unfocused at first, then sharp. "Why let me live?" Elias crouched. "Because death's too easy." Creelthar winced, trying to rise, but failing. "My people will come." Elias shook his head. "Let them. This isn't your jungle anymore." Creelthar laughed, low and bitter. "You fight like beasts, but you are not warriors. We're worse." Elias stood, stepping away. "We're human." The dropship came fast, wind whipping through the trees as it hovered low. Ropes dropped and medics rushed out. Mills was lifted first, the medics, already working to stabilize him. Elias followed, climbing aboard without looking back. As the ship lifted, he caught one last glimpse of the jungle, the battlefield, the place where apex hunters learned fear. The debrief was short, clinical. Elias sat in a sterile room aboard the fleet's command vessel, a glass of water untouched on the table. The officer across from him read from a datapad. You encountered an unknown hostile species, engaged, suffered heavy losses, and responded with lethal force. Elias didn't move. Correct. You initiated an orbital strike sequence, didn't fire. The officer set the pad down. You disobeyed standing protocol. Elias leaned forward. And saved lives. Those things were hunting us for sport. You think they care about protocol? Silence stretched. What are they? The officer asked. Elias met his eyes. Mistakes. Meanwhile, far away, beneath the towering cities of the Dravanti homeworld, Creelthar knelt before the elders, his body wrapped in ceremonial bindings, his scars on full display. The hall was silent. One elder spoke. You failed. Creelthar raised his head. No, I learned. Murmurs echoed. Humans are not prey, he said. They are hunters who don't follow rules. They adapt. They endure. They kill with purpose. The elders watched, unmoved. They are beneath us. Creelthar smiled faintly. Then send more. See what comes back. Back aboard the fleet, Elias stared out a window, watching stars drift past. Mills lay in the medbay, stable. The rest of the squad, gone. A voice behind him. Captain, he turned. A young lieutenant handed him a report. What is it? Intel update. The Dravanti have gone silent. No patrols. No activity. Elias nodded slowly. They're thinking, he said. What do we do? He looked out again, fists clenched. Prepare. Next time we hunt them.